Sanemi Shinazugawa is considered one of the strongest demon slayers of his time, but he is also an abrasive asshole. When Sanemi is first seen, he not only insults, harasses, and fights with Tanjiro, but he also stabbed Nezuko multiple times and uses his blood to tempt Nezuko to attack him, so that he would have an excuse to murder her. When describing Sanemi, Tanjiro said, quote, "He didn't seem to have a shred of intellect or tact, and when initially looking at Sanemi, many people will probably agree." Sanemi was known to be abrasive, stubborn, and have a short fuse, and outwardly he didn't do much to go against that impression. However, in truth, Sanemi was actually a very loving person. While he didn't always outwardly show it, Sanemi loved his brother very much and would do anything to protect his life, even fighting one of the strongest demons ever to save his brother. And at one point, when Sanemi had mellowed out, he was even able to admit his mistakes and apologize to Nezuko for what he had done to her. Now, why then when Sanemi was inwardly such a loving person, was he outwardly such a jerk? Well, it all started when Sanemi was just a child. Before Sanemi had joined the Demon Slayer Corps, he had been the eldest of 7 siblings and honestly had lived a rough life. He and his brother from a young age had to watch over their siblings, his mom had to work long hard hours to provide for their family, and to top it all off, he had an abusive father that contributed nothing but harm. Sanemi's father was so abusive that he would constantly beat Sanemi's siblings, and Sanemi's mom would do her best to protect their children, even throwing herself over them so that Sanemi's dad would hit her instead. Because of her actions, Sanemi came to cherish and respect his mom, and later on when his dad was murdered, Sanemi didn't care too much about his dad's death, but cared more about how he now had to protect his mom and siblings. And for a little while, along with his brother Genya, protecting their family seemed possible. That is until their mom was turned into a demon. Now Sanemi's mom often worked late hours, but one night she was out way later than usual. Both Sanemi and Genya were concerned, and Genya stayed to watch their siblings while Sanemi went to go look for her. However, while Genya was waiting with his siblings, a shadowy figure knocked against the door. Genya's siblings immediately thought that it was their mom and rushed to the door to greet her, but in an instant, the figure burst through the door and cut through all of Genya's siblings. As Genya was frozen in fear, he thought that a wolf had invaded his house, and as the figure lunged at Genya, he waited for his inevitable death. However, as the figure was about to land the final blow, Sanemi came out of nowhere and tackled the figure out of the house. When Genya got past his shock, he saw that his siblings were dying and he sprinted out to find a doctor, but instead of a doctor, he came across a bloody Sanemi standing over a disintegrating body. As Genya got closer to Sanemi, he realized the body Sanemi was standing over was actually his mom's, and when Genya saw that, he broke down. Because of the darkness and shock, Genya had not realized that his mom had been turned into a demon and had actually been the one that had killed his siblings. So Genya, in an emotional fit, called his brother a murderer, thinking that Sanemi had killed their mother. And because of this, Sanemi in complete anguish decided that it would be better if he left on his own. Because Sanemi had to kill his mother and was branded as a murderer by his own brother, he went into an emotional turmoil and directed that turmoil toward demons. He grew an intense hatred toward demons, and Sanemi left his brother, going on a reckless mission to hunt down as many demons as possible. Now, how did Sanemi survive fighting demons when he didn't even have proper training? Well, part of it was Sanemi's blood. Sanemi's blood was actually an extremely rare blood type named Marichi blood. This blood was extremely intoxicating and desirable to demons, and made even the strongest demons lose focus. So even though Sanemi had no idea how to properly fight demons, his reckless style and rare blood enabled him to trap up demons and hold them outside till the sun burned them away. And he continued to fight this way until he met a demon slayer named Masachika Kumano. When they first met, Masachika quickly befriended Sanemi and was able to give Sanemi proper training on demon slaying. Together, Sanemi and Masachika grew close and fought demons together, but the happy times didn't last as they ran into the lower moon rank 1 demon. Together, they fought the demon and they succeeded in killing him, but during the battle, Masachika was killed. Because the lower moon was defeated, Sanemi was promoted to the rank of Hashira, but he was still devastated over the loss of his friend. Because of the constant death and loss Sanemi had faced in his life, he developed his signature angry, abrasive personality almost as a way to protect himself and others from getting hurt. When Sanemi finally met the leader of the Demon Slayers, Kagaya, this anger and frustration boiled over and Sanemi lashed out at him. Sanemi accused Kagaya of just sitting back and letting other people do his dirty work and insulted Kagaya in front of the other Hashira. However, Kagaya did not get angry or lash back at Sanemi, he actually apologized to him. Through various conversations, Sanemi was able to find out that Kagaya's care for the Demon Slayers ran deep. Kagaya's respect and love for the Demon Slayers was so big that he memorized the names and backgrounds of every Demon Slayer who had died, including Masachika. And when Kagaya shared to Sanemi that Masachika thought of Sanemi as a little brother and wanted nothing more than a safe, bright future for his loved ones, Sanemi remembered what he was fighting for and thought of his younger brother Genya. Now when Sanemi had left Genya, he had actually done it to protect his younger brother. He wanted Genya to live a normal life and have a family, but Genya could never accept that. After the death of his mother, Genya realized that he had called Sanemi a murderer not because he actually believed that, but because he was in shock over the death of his siblings and his mom. Because of this, he strived to join the Demon Slayer Corps to become a Hashira so that he could meet with his brother and apologize. However, this ended up being difficult for Genya as he was not proficient at breathing techniques and couldn't achieve the same strengths that the Hashira could reach. However, Genya had the unique trait of being able to eat demon flesh. By eating a demon's flesh, Genya could temporarily gain strength and even somewhat mimic the characteristics and powers of the demon who he ate. Because of this, Genya was able to get stronger and survive long enough to eventually meet his brother again. However, when they met up again, it was not a happy experience. When Genya and Sanemi met again, Sanemi attempted to apologize to his brother, but Sanemi was not having any of it. He told Genya that, quote, he had no brother, and that Genya was talentless and should leave the Demon Slayer Corps. As Sanemi started to walk away, Genya in desperation told Sanemi that he had even eaten demons so that he could get stronger, but when Sanemi heard this, he freaked out. Sanemi immediately attempted to gouge out Genya's eyes, but Tanjiro intervened and stopped the fight. When Tanjiro asked if Sanemi was trying to kill Genya, Sanemi arrogantly replied no, he was just trying to leave Genya incapable of regenerating so that he would have to quit the Demon Slayer Corps. And because of this incident, Sanemi and Genya would not meet till they fought the Upper Moon Rank 1, Kokushibo. Initially, Genya ran into Kokushibo as he was about to end the life of Muichiro, and with Kokushibo being one of the strongest demons ever, if Muichiro alone couldn't defeat him, Genya stood no chance. With complete ease, Kokushibo sliced and diced through Genya and was about to land a finishing blow when Sanemi saved Genya. During this moment, Sanemi was finally able to tell Genya how he truly felt. Sanemi had killed his mother to protect Genya, he had wanted Genya to live a normal life and marry and have kids, and no matter what, Sanemi would have protected Genya from any demon. Sanemi wanted Genya to live a normal life, and that's why he'd been so angry and would even go to the point of injuring Genya to stop him from fighting the Demon Slayer Corps. As Sanemi started to say all this, Genya burst into tears, and after sharing a moment together, Sanemi turned to Kokushibo and became extremely angry at him for harming Genya, and he immediately lunged at Kokushibo, starting a massive fight. Initially, the fight seemed somewhat even as Sanemi got excited over the prospect of fighting such a strong demon, but as time passed, Kokushibo managed to land some big blows. However, because of Sanemi's Marichi blood and extreme breath control, Sanemi was able to survive long enough until Gyomei arrived to help him. Individually, none of the combatants fighting Kokushibo were strong enough to take him down, but together, using all their tricks, Sanemi, Gyomei, and Muichiro and Genya were able to take down Kokushibo. However, they were not able to come out of it unscathed. At the minimum, all the combatants took massive injuries, with Muichiro passing away from his wounds. But for Sanemi, the worst damage was when he saw what happened to Genya. Genya during the battle had been cut in half, and as Sanemi woke up to see Genya in that state, he could do nothing to save him. As Genya started to fade away, Sanemi desperately clung onto him trying to save him, but it was too late, and Genya faded away. However, he had no time to grieve, as Gyomei reminded him that this wasn't over until they defeated Muzan. Sanemi with all of their Demon Slayers went to fight Muzan, and they ended up defeating him, finally bringing peace. And after time had passed, Sanemi had been able to mellow out and let go of the anger and abrasiveness he had held onto. He was seen getting along with others and smiling, and even apologized to Nezuko for the things he did earlier to her. Sanemi, even though he had lost many of his loved ones, had probably found peace in finally defeating the demons that had caused so much pain and fear for not only him, but countless others.